Hi, Professor.
I love the yellow.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm tired.
Oh, you know what? I'm tired too. I don't know what it is with I'm more tired in the spring semester than in fall semester, even though it's well, except for today it's raining. Even though it's springy and sunny and pretty, it's just by spring I'm just I need a summer vacation.
Yeah,
What are you doing for the summer?
I have no idea.
Are you married by then?
We should be married like a week after we graduate. So, yeah, it's exciting, but I have no idea what I'm going to be doing for the summer.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to be busy being a wife.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, let me pull up my Nearpod. Yeah. Is it raining in your side of the woods too?
Yeah.
I didn't expect it.
I didn't either. I woke up and I was like, "Oh, it's a beautiful cloudy day." And then that started raining and I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you, Jesus."
Well, my husband took the dogs out and then they came back to bed. And they're like, why are you so wet? It's sad because I don't take them for a walk. Well, I do when it's raining, but it's windy and I don't like the wind part.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I'm too, I complain too much. We're in week 4. Woohoo! All right, so Friday include. Oh, okay. This is kind of fun. I'm trying to make assessments fun. I know the first time I taught it, it's not fun for me. It's just, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the textbooks that I use. So I try to like spin it and make it more interesting by adding videos and all that. Because if we just go by the textbook, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What do you think of this class so far?
I'm liking it.
You do? Okay.
Mhm.
Ooh, Gabby, you're gonna be a teacher. All right. 5FUN-M. Whoa, that's awesome. That's a good code. All right. Mhm. I guess we'll wait more for other people, or else you're going to be solo again.
That's all right with me.
So tell me about your other classes, Gabby.
I have painting, I have theater performance and production. I have theories of personality.
Oh, how is that class?
I'm actually liking that one too. I was surprised. I thought I wasn't gonna like that one. Um,
Are you
but
learning a lot that you're applying it in your life?
yeah, there's like some theories like oh, the guy that we learned last week. I think his name was like Adler.
Okay.
His theory of personality. I was like, that's a little interesting. This week we learned about Karen Horney and her theory, and I was like, I don't really like hers, but I can see where it's like true and like sometimes it's not.
Yeah, there's so many out there. It's just, gosh.
Hmm.
And you have to remember them for your exam.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, it's open book exam when it's Zoom, right?
I think so, yeah.
Helps. It's just preparing it, knowing where the answers are and everything.
Hmm.
Hi, Lupe. How are you? Man, you guys have been playing hard. You guys work hard. Yeah. Those Vanguard people. I'm kidding. Those Vanguard. So, Lupe, you're graduating too, right? So, what do you think of that beach volleyball? Are you gonna miss that?
Yeah, I'm sad that they didn't have that while I was here.
Oh, you can come back and kind of coach.
Well, my coach actually wants me to come back and play again next year since this year, like,
Yeah.
the
Happen.
the year like didn't count towards like the 4 years of.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating.
but
Hey,
I don't think my body can handle it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm glad you guys are here. Marty, you got your hair up. Oh, by the way, guys, disregard the week 6 announcement. I forgot to put the dates first. I was like, oh no, they think we're in week 6. I should have accidentally sent out a finals week email. That would have like tripped you guys out. That's awesome. All right, Marty, how's life?
Good.
And let's see. Lupe, what are you gonna eat in front of me? You're gonna make me so hungry. I'm gonna get my pocket latte. You guys know what pocket latte is? It's 100% coffee in the form of chocolate. It's so perfect for a woman, isn't it? It's like, man. Anyways, my husband got me a whole box. Yeah. You can see the Nearpod code 5 fun Maria M. 5 fun M. Isn't that awesome? I wish I could make that up all the time. Like, let's have 5 fun M. All right. You guys are all in there. My gosh, you guys are amazing. Okay, let's go get my speaker out here. All right, let's get started. You okay, Lupe? You can hear us? And happy Valentine's Day, guys. It's Sunday. Love is in the air. All right, including students in the assessment process. All right, these are my sources. Okay, I think there's only 1 or 2 target or bullseye here. How do we include students in the assessment process? Number 1, through self-assessment, reflections, and grading their own work through rubrics, learning targets, and inquiry-based learning. And we'll go over that more. All right, let's start the first video. Let me pull up the chat just in case somebody has a question. Sometimes I find out that you have a question after the fact. Kind of sad. All right.
What the neuroscience research has kind of unequivocally shown now is that it's sort of neurologically incompatible to be both engaged in deep meaning making and connecting the things that you're doing and learning to the broader narrative of kind of the story of who you are and what you understand and how the world works at the same time as you're paying attention into the world and gathering information and trying to complete tasks that require sort of planful executive function. In education, we often overprivilege the mind state that's not involving this sort of default rest network, but instead is involving this kind of all eyes on me, watch and pay attention sort of mode, which is an essential mode for optimal learning. But if we overprivilege it, what the evidence suggests, and this is not proven yet, but we have accumulating data to suggest that it's very consistent with what we know about how the brain works, we may be developing young brains that are biased toward this kind of right now goal-directed thinking at the expense of helping kids build the kind of internal compass for self and complex meaning making and critical thinking that is going to allow them to use the skills that they're learning outside of the immediate context in which they're learning them in order to be a productive, creative, innovative person going forward. This has a couple of really important implications for how classrooms are designed, how digital media environments support learning. We want to mindfully build into the learning space opportunities for what we call constructive internal reflection. Several studies now have shown that opportunities for reflection, for example, in writing, can be excellent for helping people to make deeper meaning and thinking about the broader context of what they're learning. But what's really important to think about is the writing skill of your learners in that context. So if your students are at a point where engaging with the writing process in a concrete way is using up their cognitive energy, then that's not a reflective experience. They may want to do their reflections by reflecting with a friend or a classmate, or by doing a video recording of themselves describing what they mean. It really matters that we don't just narrowly define good education as the building block skills, because those skills will by definition neurologically not transfer out of the context in which they were learned without a child's supported ability to integrate those skills into the broader context of what they want to do in their life, who they are, and what problems really drive them in the community.
All right, so she's talking about reflection. That's very important. I know you guys have a lot of probably classes that have reflective assignments. So that's always good. There's a target there. And there's Winnie the Pooh, self-reflecting. I love it. All right, so self-reflection can be recognized as a process that gives students opportunities to stop and be reflective about the learning that has taken place. And you just kind of did that, Gabby, when you were talking about the personalities. You start talking about it, you start talking about what you're learning at the Theories of Personality class, and you were reflecting. And as you reflect, you're building on what you're learning from that class, and you're reflecting more. And so, yeah, always do that. When you discuss it with your friends, having coffee, and goes, talk about what you guys are taking in each other's classes. And that promotes reflection. It's not always have to be in a classroom activity. You can do it on your own. You can do it with your friends. So there's something to think about, something to reflect on. Okay. All right.
When somebody is telling you, sometimes it's hard to take in, but when you tell yourself, it's sort of like, all right, let's get this straight.
You remember the word association game. I say blue, you say sky. I say sunshine, you say summer day. What if I said student self-assessment? Do you see students grading themselves? Each and every student gives themselves an A, regardless of how much or little work they've done. But self-assessment is not about asking students to give themselves grades. By definition, that's summative self-evaluation. No, self-assessment means engaging students in a formative process in which they compare their work to clear criteria and determine how to make improvements. We believe that in all forms of learning, the opportunity to revise is essential. Self-assessment inspires students to take charge of the vision and revision process. In fact, research shows that students who use self-assessment methods learn more, earn better grades, and receive higher test scores. How can you create the right conditions for students to become their own most important resource in the assessment of their own work? This video will provide you with perspectives from students and teachers regarding the optimum classroom conditions for self-assessment, and will touch upon establishment of clear criteria with a rubric or checklist, supporting thoughtful self-assessment according to those criteria, setting aside time for students to revise and improve upon their work.
When I look at my work, I feel pretty good because I know that I can fix it, and I know that I keep trying.
I can do everything myself, and that like I can see what I do wrong and how I can make myself better.
It was really helpful because sometimes you don't get your ideas straight and forget to include something. But when you look at the rubric, you know what you have to include.
We sort of have this philosophy in my class that if you are not at the level you wish to be, then you're not done yet. We start projects now in a very different way. We start them by really presenting and clarifying the criteria, things that count. So my students now know exactly what their goals are and what they need to be immersed in. The self-assessments help them focus back into that criteria.
So, how do you do self-assessment? Consider a colored pencil technique. First, create a rubric with your students. Then, focus your students on specific elements of the criteria on the rubric by having them use a colored pencil to underline key words of a particular criterion on the rubric, and then look for evidence of having met that standard and underline it in the same color. In this example, for the first criterion, thesis, students underlined clear thesis in red, and then underlined their own thesis statement in red and considered whether or not it was clear. If not, they made a note to themselves in the margins that guided revision. You may guide your class through this process for each criterion. Once the essays have been thoroughly assessed, provide your students time to revise their work.
It's no longer just depending on me to tell them what to do. They're making the decisions themselves. The greatest discovery is definitely, wow, my students can improve so much from this. It's like an incredible discovery.
If you take your time for a self-assessment, it will make your work better because you have to take time to view your own work and not just like hit it in instantly. And then when you realize your mistake, you can't make it.
Check yourself and try to tell yourself what you did wrong, and also try to tell yourself what you did right, and so you're complimenting yourself. And you usually do this on like a writing piece, but you could do it on anything. It's always about improving now because you know you can do better. Like the next time you write something, you're always looking out for those mistakes. That does make me notice things that I wouldn't usually notice.
When I came into teaching, the most important thing for me as a teacher was to create independent learners that feeds their entire life.
I say learning, you say growth. I say question, you say answer. I say self-assessment, you say a practical method of helping students identify strengths and weaknesses in their own work and revise accordingly. It is our hope that with these methods, your students may develop the skills they need as independent, self-directed, and lifelong learners.
So what's the point of having school if you can't make it learn from your mistakes?
Such a profound guy. Anyways, yes, you will have that opportunity. I used to chat. You'll have that opportunity in your future book review table to do self-assessment and also do peer assessment. So it's going to be exciting. All right, using learning targets. Teachers share a learning target with their students where when they clearly describe using words, pictures, actions, or some combination of the three in language students can understand exactly what students will learn during the lesson. But sharing doesn't stop there. The entire lesson should be designed in a way that brings the learning target to life so that students can aim for it throughout the lesson and assess their progress toward it. So let's go see what that looks like. All right, here's the target. Okay, it's a target, but that's not like the bullseye target that I use so that you don't have to memorize this illustration. All right, so we're gonna take a look at that process and let me know after watching this movie if you still need explanation on learning target. I think this movie will pretty much explain that for you.
So just to get us settled, I'm going to just share a couple pages from a book that has something to do with our writing target today. Our writing target. First one up here says I can name the three main parts of a letter. In your head, just see if you can name them to yourself quietly. Our second target is I can explain the purpose or the reason why we sent the letter. So this book is...
Our expedition is about insects, and recently our best bugs passed away, and the kids were really sad about that. And so the Best Bug Company agreed to send replacement bugs, and it gave us a real reason to need to know how to write a thoughtful thank you letter. And so the kids are in the process of writing those letters now. We started today by looking at a strong model. We actually looked at the letter that the Best Bug Company sent to us. We identified the three main parts on that letter.
Good work. And our last part.
and decided that we would also write letters including those 3 parts. And our purpose today was to send them a thank you for replacing the best bugs that had died in our classroom.
Cooper say it can ask a question. Did that letter ask us any questions? No. What do you think, Enzo? To send some love, maybe? To send some love. Definitely.
So they went to do their independent practice, I think keeping those purposes in mind, and then came back for debrief where we assessed how far they had gotten writing their letters and also used the exit ticket to see if they were able to identify the 3 main parts of a letter.
Who can remind the crew of what our 2 targets were today when we sat down for Writer's Workshop? Isabel, can you tell me one of them?
I can name 3 main parts of a letter.
I can name the 3 main parts of a letter, right? What was our second target?
I can explain the purpose of sending a letter.
I can explain the purpose of sending a letter. So our exit ticket today, and we've done these before, is going to ask you again to really think about what those 3 main parts are of a letter.
When thinking about building learning targets, I try to make them so that they're not very text heavy, so that kids can navigate them easily and that they focus on one aspect of quality at a time. By the end of the workshop, kids know what they know and I know what they know.
Oh yeah, I found them.
The kids sat down in circle and they were able to self-assess whether or not they met the first target.
All right, any questions on learning targets? No? Okay, so your learning target today is, I can find ways to include students in the assessment process. Isn't that cool? All right, good. All right. All right, okay, what is the motivation connection? All our psychology students here know about motivational theory. So students who have the clear pictures of learning target are required to do, say, make, or write something during the lesson to learn, and use criteria for success to help get themselves to the learning targets are likely, and use criteria for success to help get themselves to the learning target are likely to also have a sense of what they can and should do to make their work measure up to those criteria and that target. So when you tell your students, okay, this is what your learning target is, it helps them. It helps them know where they're going, kind of like you have to know your destination first. Okay. So sharing the whole learning target during a lesson that brings that target to life directs both teachers and students towards the specific goals. Students can hit the learning target only if they are actually aiming at it and working toward it. And they can't work toward it until they really understand it. It's a big paragraph, but is it understandable to you guys? All right. Awesome. You guys are good. Okay, so once the students understand where they are headed, they are more likely to believe that they can be successful and actually reach their goal. Students believe that can be successful at a particular task or assignment is called self-efficacy. Bandura, yay. Students who have self-efficacy are more likely to persist in their work, especially in the face of challenge. So it's just always good to help your students see the whole picture. Never a secret. You know how I said it to you before, there's never a secret in this class or in the class before. You'll know what you're going to get tested on. There's study guide. You'll know everything, what we're going to cover. You'll know the outcomes on Moodle and stuff like that. So it's always good that students know all the details, even if they're kindergarten. So, okay, I think this is, all right. This would have been a fun activity inside the classroom, but all right, close your eyes. I'm kidding. Picture a typical classroom in a typical day during a typical class discussion, okay? Picture the teacher holding a ball of yarn in her hand. As the discussion unfolds, the teacher asks a question and tosses the ball of yarn to the responder, who tosses it back to the questionnaire. So I'm going to toss the yarn to Marty, and Marty will answer the question and she'll toss it back to me. Okay, that would have been so good without the Zoom. Okay, so the next question is asked. Each time a question response interaction occurs, the unraveling ball of yarn leaves a trail of the discussion pattern. In this typical classroom, the teacher functions as questioner in chief. The talk moves from and back to the teacher, creating a similar pattern to those created by the light rays of the sun. I'll show you that in a second. This pattern of classroom talk is all too familiar. Teacher questions, student responds. So I throw the yarn to Gabby, and Gabby answers and throws it back to me. I throw the yarn to Lupe. She answers the question and she throws it back to me. So the pattern of the classroom talk is all too familiar. And teacher questions, student response, teacher evaluation, next teacher question. In fact, in many classrooms, the teacher takes up at least 2/3 of the available airtime. So how does that look like? That's how pretty much it looks like in a typical classroom with a typical discussion. Okay, the teacher asks the question to this student here, and the student answers it back. The teacher tosses the yarn to this student, and the teacher tosses it back, and the student tosses back. So it's a typical sun ray type of discussion. And is that good? In a way, it's okay, but what do you think would be better? Now, picture a classroom where the formative assessment process is alive and well. Students in this classroom see their question as mind tools for the job of learning because the teacher encourages their questions, okay, as indicators of powerful thinking. Questions are valued in this classroom, and questions are asked by and all the learners. The pattern of talk in this classroom bears little resemblance to a single source ray of light pattern, signaling that the teacher controls the learning. In fact, in this classroom, there is no set talk pattern. So it would be like me asking question to Gabby, and then Gabby answering it, and then kind of ponders a little more and ask additional question, and Martina would answer it, and Martina would answer the question, but then she'll kind of like, but what about, and then she'll toss the yarn to Lupe. So the illustration is more like this. And this is an inquiry discussion web. If you're ever in a group of people, you're having a meal at a restaurant, take out a piece of paper and start marking who's talking and who's responding and who's talking and who's responding. A healthy discussion looks like this because all the people are responding to each other, not just to this teacher. And the teacher is somewhere in the middle, but she's not the one tossing the yarn all the time. She's just facilitating the classroom. And that's what the good role is of a teacher. It's not always imparting knowledge to students, it's facilitating the learning process. So hopefully you will get to this, I guess, experiment with this someday and see what happens. Because it's so surprising to see, like, in a group of friends who's taking control of the conversation all the time and who's not talking at all. Or if it's like this, it's a very healthy discussion. I know in my class it's always going to be the sunrise thing, especially in college, because some students don't just want to talk. But if you even do that experiment in your other classroom, you'll also see that only certain students want to talk. And I know when I used to be young, there's like in high school, there's always those two students who's always doing this and he's always talking, which is great. But I wish all students would do that and have that kind of illustration of discussion. All right.
I realize how much more they learn. And when I see that they take action and they're applying the skills that they learn in here, I feel like I've done my job as a teacher. At your service.
Inquiry-based learning is just a fancy word for curiosity, right? So tell me what child is not curious?
We as humans all question. That's how we learn. So the students should be questioning all the time.
Any questions?
We're trying to ignite passion and relevance. It's not just about finishing that assignment. It's about being able to explore something that I'm really interested in.
The basic steps in inquiry-based learning is to come up with a rich question, a question that doesn't have the answer already in it.
You begin with the questions that you really want to explore in a unit.
And then each unit has lines of inquiry that the students will be investigating. And the lines of inquiry are developed by the teacher, but with a lot of input and feedback from the students.
And that becomes the direction that the teacher takes the content. So the teacher will resource kids with opportunities to explore things that they're interested in within that line of inquiry. So kids are hitting the standards with the bigger questions and being able to create evidence of their understandings and their learnings in all kinds of ways that the kids get to pick.
So for instance, we're doing a money unit right now. We're studying billionaires. The theme billionaires was not chosen by the teachers per se. It stemmed from the students' inquiries. When we were going through the inquiry process and they were asking all these questions, a common theme that kept coming up was, why are some people so rich and other people are not rich?
I remember a lot of you were wondering why some people don't have as much money. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, so those questions led to our investigation.
We had a huge discussion about why we're studying billionaires, and it's not because they're superhumans or that they're rich or they're cool because they have a lot of money. We are looking at character traits, and we were talking about what do these people have that enables them to be this successful.
We're doing a keynote about Ralph Lauren's cars. He has a giant car collection.
We're asking ourselves some questions, and then we would have looked on Wikipedia and searched up the questions.
Maybe one day we want to invent something.
This right here is how Warren Buffett influenced society about what he did, how much money he gave to charity.
How about this one?
Why would I really care about someone donating money to a charity?
Because she helped someone, and then she built a school for girls here.
We're opening up learning by letting kids decide, hey, what am I really interested in science? What am I really interested in social studies? What am I really interested in literature? Giving them a whole list of potential things and letting them do the inquiry and research and make those connections.
So if you have a dystopia, you could say that Hunger Games would be one of your resources because it's a fiction story that actually plays out in a dystopia region. Inquiry-based learning actually makes you think, essentially. You're still doing it in the Common Core way, but you're actually picking what you want to learn.
All of a sudden we see our students doing things that really matter to them, and they're excited and they're passionate and they want to talk about what they're learning.
They're inspired, they're reflective, they struggle. That is a true education.
Any questions? You guys are so good. It's still early, I know. Look, I got my iced tea. All right, so here's the thing. It's a short class. I really wish we're in the classroom with all, I think, 7 of you, because I would have put you in circles and I would have really brought a yarn. And I would have asked a question to Gabby, and Gabby would ask a question to Marty. Marty would ask a question to Jocelyn, and then, yeah, and we would have had this nice web of discussion. In Zoom, it's really hard, and you guys don't have questions. How are you guys doing in your assignments? Are you guys learning a lot about standardized? Is it good that I put that in your assignments instead of our discussions? Could you imagine discussing standardized week after week with me in Zoom? That would have been so awful. Yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to let you guys survive through this whole COVID thing. Oh, okay. There's 3 of you. All right. We did 2 times Valentine's Day, and we have Valentine's Day on Sunday. So what do you guys want to do? First one who speaks will get the, ooh, Gabby's microphone is on.
I want Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, all right. All right, any plans for Valentine's Day?
I have work.
Oh, but I think you'll be busy because there's all these Valentine's books, right? And whatever, and man, you know when my kids were little, I didn't want to go take them to Barnes & Noble because they didn't have just books. They have all kinds of stuff and they're expensive. They have toys that go with Arnold.
Right now we have like Clifford and like Curious George plushies, and we have them all together.
Yeah, the whole package, becoming a Disney store. So yeah, it's very expensive. Anyways, Lupe, you work in a plant store, right? Are you guys busy with plants or?
Yeah, because we make like Valentine's Day arrangements and stuff, so we're always busy with that.
Oh, how about you, Marty?
I don't work.
That's okay. You're gonna decorate the house with Valentine's stuff?
No, I think we're gonna try to go to the snow this weekend though. So.
Ooh,
Yeah.
All right. Send a picture with your big heart on the snow. That'd be awesome. All right, Valentine's it is. I'm gonna miss you guys. It's such a short class, but I bet you're happy. All right, cool. All right, and I don't think there's many questions here, so. All right, waiting for you guys. Perfect. Lupe, the purple dude. All right, let's get started. This way. You guys, I am on the 27th, I'm presenting to the faculty on creating different kinds of activities in Zoom, and I'm showing Nearpod, and I'm gonna give them a time to climb game, and I'm gonna do the same thing when I announce the winners. It's gonna be crazy. All right, so I am going to show you Moodle real quick. We're going to do something a little bit different next week. There you go. Next week, we are going to look at high quality assessments, equity in assessments, and that includes accommodating students with learning exceptionalities, which I know you're familiar with. But here's the thing, we're gonna toggle between Zoom and Nearpod and Moodle. You don't see this right now in your Moodle, but you're just gonna like list some answers in Moodle, which is part of your discussion. So that's gonna be different. And then, yeah, I'm trying to make this class a little bit more different each day or each week, just so you guys don't fall asleep, you know, because I understand. Assessment is really an exciting world if you try to kind of go around it. But anyways, you guys have any questions? I love all your Philippians 4:8 essay. You guys are so deep. I swear, it's just so nice to hear from students and how you guys apply this in your life. And I'm gonna let you guys go early. It's gonna be sad for me. Bye, guys. Stay dry. Don't get sick. Have a good Valentine's Day. Bye.
Bye.